I'm going to say it. Nicolas Cage is probably the best survivor they've ever added to Dead by Daylight. That is a sentence I never thought I would say out loud and mean it and it be an actual thing, but it is an actual thing. His perks are fantastic. His personality in the talking in the trial itself, as well as outside the trial and having specific voice lines for a lot of different interactions with being chased, with being hooked, healed, hit, loading in, opening the gate, etc., etc. There's a lot of different interactions, some making fun of other killers like Myers or Sadako. It's honestly really, really cool what they've given him with that, but more so his perks. They have prioritized fun over balance in a big way. Balance is still important, but when you prioritize fun over balance, it makes it more enjoyable for everybody, and I think they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it with his perks. His perks are silly, they're goofy, they're funny, and they are very fun to use because you never know what you're going to get out of them. They're a mixed bag, they're a gamble. They have RNG to them. They are very silly and could give you a really bad thing or a really good thing. And it's really, really goofy with that. But they all also have very good, consistent uses as well. To where, yes, they're meme perks. Yes, they're silly and they're wacky and they have RNG to them. But they also are very useful in a lot of different situations and can counterplay a lot of things the killer can do, as well as just really mess with the killer. I think the risk and reward factor of the perks also adds into it a lot as well. Scene Partner doesn't really have that risk. It just, you scream twice, but it's still funny. With Dramaturgy, you can use the perk early to try to get a bad roll out of the way. That way you know you won't get that bad roll again, like the exposed effect. You can get that out of the way early so you know that in the chase, you either get a speed boost or you get a free item in it. You can use Plot Twist in a lot of different ways, and I mean a lot. This perk, you can counter Jolt by putting yourself down. You can counter being condemned by Sadako when holding a tape by putting yourself down. You can counter getting hit with Sloppy by putting yourself on the ground. You can heal yourself to full when you don't have a medkit or a teammate nearby in order to do so. You can use it to great effect with Flip Flop and Power Struggle. If you're being tunneled or if you, force it to happen, you can use Decisive Strike pretty damn well with it as well to put yourself on the ground after you get some distance, get to a loop, and just drop yourself on the ground and force the killer to either eat the DS by picking you up or you speed away healthy and they can't really do anything about it, and then you still have your DS after that. You can force the killer to vault a window. You can combine it with Lucky Break and Overcome to speed away. There's so many different possibilities with that perk, with Dramaturgy, with being able to spawn in any item you want, really, but also running that risk of revealing where you are at a really bad time or running that risk of becoming exposed in the middle of a chase and going down. It's just been so goofy messing around with these perks and interacting with them, and as killer, it hasn't bothered me one bit. They've just been very silly. Seeing Nick Cage just put his knees up and just speed away and then scream or spawn an item in his hands or go down instantly because they got exposed when they used it. It's just, it's fantastic stuff, man. It's fantastic stuff. It's a very goofy time. I've used that word like so many times at this point, but that's one of the best ways to describe it. And they still have a lot of really cool uses, a lot of counterplays to a lot of different perks and killers and all that kind of stuff. The only complaints I have about them are, A, with Dramaturgy, I feel like the downsides of the perk do not match the upsides. I feel like the ability to spawn in a Commodious with a brand new part and socket swivels is not really comparative to 12 seconds of exposed, which, by the way, can be taken down even further if you have Vigil. It doesn't really match that. Screaming isn't really that big of a deal, so I think the screaming part should also show your aura. I think that would make it a lot more of a dangerous situation, and I think the expose should last a bit longer, like 30 seconds or so. But I don't want the positives nuked down. I think the positives and how crazy they are is what makes the perk so fun to use, so just make the negatives a little bit further up. I feel like they're not really that bad to deal with. My other complaint is with his voice lines. They don't happen enough. I wish that during the match he talked a lot more. He says a couple voice lines per match, but I do wish that he would talk more throughout the trial because the only person that hears the voice lines is you. So if you're playing as Nick Cage, you're probably wanting to hear more Nick Cage. You're wanting to hear him talk. So I think making his voice lines a bit more frequent, especially given how many he has, there's a lot to really choose from. So I wish that he would talk more during the trial. That's my only other complaint. But other than that, I think he's the best survivor they've ever added. I love his perks, love his personality, love what they've done with him. Keep it up, keep prioritizing fun over balance. I think that's the best way to go about it. That's the best the DBD is. When it's chaotic, when it's goofy, when everyone's messing around, that's my favorite part of it. So anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of Nick Cage. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.